What religion do you believe in?
I am Jewish, so Judaism.
Ah, nice. All right. Well, how would you describe your religious or spiritual upbringing? Meaning, like, what made you go into Judaism?
Well, okay, so Judaism is usually passed down by like your mother's side,
Yeah.
but I am like genetically fully Ashkenazi Jewish, like Jewish.
Ah,
So it's passed down by blood for me. So for me, I just was born Jewish, and it's just part of my genetics.
oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, how do you think that has developed or changed throughout your life?
I mean, I'm Israeli, which is the homeland of the Jews.
Uh,
So I'm like impacted basically every day because I speak Hebrew with my family, which is basically like the Jewish language.
what is the difference between being spiritual and being religious? And do you think it can be like both, one or the other, or neither?
I personally think that being like religious is sort of like following certain practices. Being spiritual is sort of like believing in certain things. You can believe in certain things while also doing them.
Oh, alright, that's a good point actually. Well, in that case, how do you counter God?
I mean, although I am Jewish, I personally don't really believe in God because of personal reasons.
Uh,
But I don't know. I find it irrational
oh,
because I don't know. I personally don't think I should dedicate my life to believing or praying to an object that could possibly not even be real and will not really change my life in any way.
what advice do you have about like finding your calling in life? If you have already.
I mean, I sort of have like engineer. I don't know, but I would just say keep in mind like do something that you like um to do, but also something that will like better your future.
Do you think faith can help people with their purpose in life?
Possibly. I mean, if it puts you on the right path, I guess. If it brings you away from something bad that you were doing before.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. How does religion affect who you are today? Basically, like, how do you see religion in yourself and others?
I don't know. At my school, I go to Berkeley High. There's people of all religions, all races, and I think it just lets us be more united, but religion also gives us individuality, which is something that's also very important.
What are your faiths? Like, not specifically the faiths you have because you're Jewish or that you believe in or that you believe in Judaism, but like, what do you specifically believe in? Like right now.
I believe in hard work. I mean, I personally think I'm like pushing myself to the limit.
Um, so faith, spirituality, and religion, they are definitely some key aspects that we can see in the world. What do you think your spirituality would be before coming into religion or faith?
Um, I guess just um, well, it varies for like each person. You can't really define a whole like group, like their entire spirituality by just like a few words because everyone's different.
What religion do you believe in?
I grew up Roman Catholic.
You did. Interesting. Well, how would you describe your religious or spiritual upbringing? Meaning, like, how would you describe you getting into Roman Catholic?
Well, since I was born a Roman Catholic,
Uh,
my parents while growing up, took me to Mass on Sundays. That's how I got introduced to it growing up. And then I went to Catholic school, Catholic grade school, and Catholic high school. So that's how I grew up. That's how I literally grew up with the Roman Catholic.
How has it developed or changed throughout your life? Like, throughout your life, do you think being Roman Catholic has changed?
I pretty much think the same. To me, the basics of Roman Catholic is that you believe in God and you believe in Jesus as his son and the savior of all humankind. That he, for dying for us, he proved that there is life beyond death. Jesus is indeed the Son of God.
Hmm. What's the difference between being spiritual and religious?
I think religious is more of what you practice, um, uh, like in terms of how you treat people and how you interpret good and evil, and how you do good and evil. Spiritual is more introverted, like you keep to yourself. Spiritual is like your inner beliefs, like I believe doing good feels good, more internal beliefs that you don't show people. Yeah, you can both have your spiritual beliefs, and which you can show as a religious practice. Like if you believe in spiritually that all people are good and all people deserve to be treated good, and as you show that religiously by treating your fellow man good.
All right. Well, how do you counter God or the beyond in your life?
I like that one. Yeah, I talk to God every day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, he's just you. I thank him daily. Thank him for all our blessings, and then I pray for people like my family and friends that may God bless them and help them in their journey in life. And I also pray for worldly things like ending this pandemic.
What advice do you have to share about finding one vocation or purpose in life?
I think I always pray to God to guide you in your life, what He wants you to do, and also what you want to do. I think when you pray to God, He hears it, but you got to work toward it. As you grow up, that'll make you happy and successful.
How do you see religion in your society right now? Like, how do you see religion in other people?
I think it's the way they act
Uh,
on a daily basis. It's not complicated. It's just how, to me, it's how they treat people and how they treat you, and how they go about their daily lives, how they behave, how they talk with people, how they help people or not help people. So you see how every day how people act towards you.
what are your faiths? Basically, but what do you solely believe in?
I believe people are good, basically, or else the whole world be evil.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you don't get anywhere in life without help. You can't do truly anything by yourself. So that's where people and charity come into play.
Despite your faith and religion, what would be your spirituality?
If I didn't grow up with or born into or grow up Roman Catholic, I still would believe there's a God. I'd be probably more agnostic. But I wouldn't know what religion to pick. But I know there is a God because somebody had to create the universe, or something had to create the universe.
Yeah, true.
And there's definitely a choice every day to be a good person or bad. So there's always this battle between being a good person, or doing good things, and doing not so good things. So I think it'd be agnostic for sure.
What religion do you believe in?
I'm a Catholic.
Well, in that case, how would you describe your religious or spiritual upbringing? Meaning, like, how did you go into being Catholic?
So I actually, my parents don't really have a religion, and I never, talked to them at all about religion growing up. And then they sent me to a Catholic school in first grade, basically just because it was nearby and seemed like a good school to them, but they weren't really interested in the religious aspect. But then I became interested in it when I was in first grade, and like most of my friends there were Catholic, and I wanted to be baptized so that I could do my first communion.
And do you think that decision has changed throughout your life? Like just being religious, do you think has your motives about it? Do you think it's been changing throughout your life?
Yeah, I think, you know, I felt very like, you know, spiritually connected when I was a kid. When I went to high school, I went to a Catholic high school, but I sort of lost my faith a little bit, I would say.
Path of despair, maybe.
I don't know. It just, you know, elementary, middle school, I felt spiritually, religiously connected, and then wasn't again until really my early 20s, I would say, when I felt it again.
In your opinion, do you think what's the difference between being spiritual and religious?
And I think that there's religious people who aren't very spiritual, and there's spiritual people who aren't very religious, and both, you know, maybe works for them. For me, religion just has to do with like the organization of a religious faith that they feel connected to. In my experience, people who call themselves spiritual kind of make a point of saying that. They often aren't as connected to a particular religion, or maybe they have beliefs in a lot of different things. But yeah, I agree with your definition of spiritual as like more about yourself and like your relationship with yourself more than with an organized religion. And a lot of spiritual people think not only do they have that connection with themselves, but through that they have more of a spiritual connection with God or with a higher power.
How do you encounter God in your life? Like, is there an experience or like have any activities that like you relate to God somehow?
I'd say just for me, like quiet prayer and meditation. The more I think about it, the more it's like about the quiet times of meditating and trying not to think about much of anything. For me, that's like what good prayer is, when you're just letting the thoughts kind of flow and not consciously thinking about any one particular thing.
What advice do you have about like finding one's vocation? Do you think faith can help with your vocation, like just like being who you are?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a faith can lead you to knowing what your vocation is. Just listen to your heart, listen to yourself. Don't let others influence your vocations too much.
How do you see religion? Like, do you see religion a lot in other people? Do you is religion like your number one thing?
I see religion, well, you mentioned California. I don't see this, I think you're right, I don't see this as a very religious state.
Yeah.
I do think that there's a lot of people in this community, kind of the Bay Area in particular, who are actually a bit more like spiritually connected than in a lot of parts of the world. But in terms of like an organized religion, and in part because of how I grew up, like I think it's very possible, especially here, just to not interact or encounter religion, you know?
What are your faiths? Like, not exactly your faith because of your religion. Like, what do you solely believe in?
I think that people are born good, but faith is a way to remain good, if that makes sense.
Yes.
That's kind of my personal take on it. I think I'm a nice person. I think I like niceness in other people, and that's an important trait in me, to be kind.
So, despite your faith in religion, who do you think you'd be right now if you were not religious?
I think I would be less sure of myself and what I should do, kind of in general, both like with career. I mean, there's a reason I'm teaching here. I think it's like I've always really appreciated Catholic education, not only Catholicism but Catholic education, because it makes students more aware of everything that you said. What their vocation in life should be, more connected to not only to God but to themselves. yeah, if I were not, I think I would be kind of unsure of myself.